it, use and understand what addendums are out there and when and where to use it. Okay, well, I'm excited. Today we're going through really scaling your business with AI. And me and Roland are up for doing this. We've been diving into more of the agentic AI pretty heavily. It's been a lot of fun. So been maybe nerding out a little too much. Agents. Yep. So this is where you're starting to have AI now do things for you, right? Instead of just having it where you're brainstorming or having it where maybe it makes an image. This is now where you're starting to get to the point where you can actually make a task and it reoccurs and does the whole procedure again. This is where you can give it multiple steps and it will do all of the steps, right? Which is pretty fun. So we're going to be diving into it, but the first one, I kind of wanted to talk about it, like a little bit what we were talking about, right? LLMs we've chatted about a lot. Automation has kind of been around, but it's been complicated because you've had to connect it with pieces. You had to like say, when this happens, go do this. And you had to use too many systems. So I haven't seen a whole bunch of people do that really well. But the cool part is we're now getting into AI agents, which there's a whole bunch out there that are getting more and more. And every single day I'm texting with some of you and we're like, look, did you just see this one come out? Like there's a lot that's happening, right? So this is what we're going to focus on though. And we're going to be focusing specifically on one tool today that I think is built really well for more of an adoption now. And we'll see where things are in 8 months. But the reality is, I think it's a good one for you to start playing with. But I always like pulling up this because, right, this right here is what, if you look at everything, it's the triangle of leads, listings, and leverage. You got to think, earn, net, and then receive $1 million. And also, what's the core thing that you need? You need a database, you need your service plan, and you have to have your value proposition, right? This is the core part about you building a solid real estate business and understanding where and what this comes in. This tool technically can help with everything, but in my opinion, it's a very good leverage tool. Because we go through, and one of the things that you know is, well, if you don't know, then you should come for sure to 6 Personal Perspectives tomorrow, right? But it's the 80-20 principle, right? 80% of what you do only results to 20% of the results, just like 20% of what you do equals 80% of the results. So are you focusing on what is most important in your business, life, right? And making sure you're figuring out what those big rocks are. The cool part is AI is going to make it where you can now take the things from here and have it be done, and it's going to get easier and easier. The big thing is, are you going to let yourself get sucked into this still, or are you going to leverage it and really focus on what's the most important? Relationships, right? Actually, if I go through, it's those 5 things that I've said multiple times. Right, Roland, what are the 5?
For your top 5?
Top 5, 20% for an agent.
Is your lead generation, lead follow-up, negotiation, script practice, appointments.
Correct. So those are your top. Yeah. Just the gold star.
That'll work. Thank you, Mel.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Dina's got it. Dina's got
Mel,
it for you.
President.
I love it. So those are what you should be focusing on here. The great thing is everything else you can figure out over time. How do you leverage it? How do you do something in that way? So what we're going to talk about today is a tool called Manus. So I'll give you a link at the end so you can actually go load it and get it if you want. Highly, highly recommend it. It has been really cool to play with, and we're going to show you some use case scenarios that we've already done. And then we actually want to have a conversation. So be thinking of maybe what's an 80% piece that maybe we try and conquer right now. We're going to do that. Okay. So, but here's Manus. Manus really is good at a handful of things. It honestly keeps on getting better as well, just like all of them. But Manus will help you with market research, gathering information, assist in creating content like emails and social media posts. And it will also manage day-to-day tasks to free up your business time. So because you can set it as reoccurring tasks, you can be like, I mean, it's not one of our examples, but if you wanted to have it every single week go out and give you updated social stuff to do, you could have it every Monday give you your whole social media calendar. Like there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do in this way. So pretty cool. Okay. But here's kind of the reality. You got to think, what's the problem that I need to help with, right? What is the process that you're going to do to use this to help you get there? And what's the product, right? I first had PP and then something else, and we had to figure out what the last P would be because, right? PPP.
Smile.
So good. So
Makes you
good.
smile.
Right? I love it. So this is what we're going to go through. So the reality is, we were going through this, and I was actually chatting with Jen, and she loves to bring me her problems.
Do.
So we were like, okay, here's the problem, here's the story, and kind of thing. So we were chatting, and ultimately she's like, hey, I'm helping a client out. I've listed the house before. We pulled it off. We turned it into a rental. We're now really curious on, hey, the lease is getting close to the end, and when and where is the good time, and how do I explain this? Because she's like, I have
time of year.
time of
So
year.
basically, I tell people the worst time to sell a house is when it's 110 degrees outside, but do the statistics agree with me?
Right. So we were going through because we all have our gut reaction of what it should be. So it was fun to be like, all right, how do I now present this? Or how do I go through that process? So we thought, all right, well, let's see what AI can do to help make our lives easier. And this is kind of the process we did.
Also, I got a 2-for-1 because Roland was at his office at the same time.
She did get both of us. So we went through and said, okay, here's the scenario. So first thing we did was we went to ChatGPT, and I said, all right, we're going to use Manus for this, but I want to refine a prompt. So I used AI to help us refine the prompt. And we said, here's what's happening. We want to know the pros and cons. We're going to give all of this information. Luckily, Roland already was nerding out and had 15 years of data pulled in different CSVs on a Google folder. So we were like, here's the link. We can just use this link of the last 15 years. We'll make our life easy.
How coincidental.
Okay. So then we went through and said, all right. And of course, like always, I have my agents try and also ask me questions to best understand. So they gave me the questions. Hey, is this kind of what you're wanting? And I said, oh, actually, I'll be giving you a Google Drive folder to give you all that information. And it said, great, next question. Inside those, and I said, hey, it's actually a monthly row data. So it kind of had that. Then it went through and said, all right, what specific metrics are inside each month? And I gave it. I said, here's the information that it's going to have. Then it said, great. What about the geographic scope? And I said, all right, for this situation, I just wanted Washington County because this house is in Washington County. So we said, all right, Washington County, but a blend of being client-friendly and analytical, right? And then it went to and said, all right, do you want this presentation ready, multiple assets, or an agent toolkit? So I said C, because I wanted the one-pager. I wanted something I could give my client. 2, I wanted a detailed analysis report, and then some graphs that I can reuse in listing presentations, right? So it then went and gave it to me. All right, here's the whole prompt. It said, here's what you're going to do. Here's all the detail. Here's your role. Here's your instructions. Here's your task. If you notice, I used the crit, right? I had it help me build it out in that. And it went through and said, I want all of this, and here's your final goal. I was like, perfect. This is now the prompt that I'm going to use. So then I went and we said, all right, okay, we're going to now go through and we're going to give all of this to Manus. So we pasted that content. We said, hey, here's the prompt. Then we gave it the Google Drive. And I didn't even have to do more because that was the whole prompt and that was that. Manus then went through. How long did it take again, Jen? Was this one like 18 minutes or so?
Yeah.
It was just working in the background and it was reading everything. It was giving us our thoughts. It said, hey, I can do this. All right, perfect. We're going through all this information. All right, hey, I'm cleaning up. I see this part. And it just kept on going through, verifying, doing everything, looking at things. And then it said, all right, key findings. Here's what it found. And then it made us the full report. We first looked at this report and we were like, oh, Yeah, 15 years is going to be way too long, or it was 18 years actually, of information was just too long. So we went through and said, hey, let's actually just change it to the last 4. I'm just curious, markets changed, what does that look like, so on and so forth. So then it went and said, all right, we're only going to do these years. Now I'm going to do this. And I also then in the middle said, also, can you add our KWSN logo to it? And also do it where the color scheme is the same. And so I interrupted it, which is fun. And then it said, great. And it went and then grabbed everything, created it, and then gave us the final product. So the final product was a one-pager. And is when is the best time to sell a house in Washington County? Right? And also the date that we were considering, this client was considering was June. Not saying that was the best, but it was highlighting what they were thinking. But the fun part is, it's not the worst, right?
Well,
so
crazy is
there's not anything that's really that bad, right? Totally. There's nothing that's really bad, but it is interesting to say, what is the difference and how does this look? And it went through and it gave a whole detailed analysis of, hey, activity peaks in springtime. Here's this and this, understanding seasonal trends. It went through and said, all right, for, sales to original list price ratio, May leads at a 97.2, June is a 96.9. That 0.2% is going to be painful. No, but you can see the point, right? This is the information that then was put together in that way. It also then gave us the agent analysis report, which is different. This is not client facing. This is the executive summary for what just happened and what it's looking at. Right? It then also gave us a monthly summary table. So if we wanted to use this later, which was actually in parts of different ones. But this is now one of those things that you could go through and you could then have it be where it went through the whole analysis in that way. So the cool part with this situation, right? Jen then took this information, sent it to her client, and now provided that much more detail, right? That much more information, depending on if they're a high I or a high S or wherever they're at. In some ways, this is still going to show that you specifically looked at information for their scenario. It took 18 minutes. We were watching it while it was thinking, which is probably not the most productive, but it was fun.
So you did all that
There's about 25 minutes. And the great part is you can totally go do something else while it's thinking. It will work on it for you and get it all done in the background.
This is called Manus.
Manus, yep.
You use the data that Roland had pulled. So, Roland, how long did it take for you to pull the data?
It wasn't long, so I just go on the market summary, and then I look for the month and the year. And then if you go to customize search again, you go to previous search, it'll show the last search that you made. You can quickly change the year or the month, whatever. So you can do it really quick that way. So just 10-15 minutes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The cool thing about Manus too is it can perform multiple tasks at a time. So while it's working on that, you can have it doing other things for you, which is really cool.
And you just have it do, basically you create another little side chat and it's working simultaneously in different ones. Mm-hmm. So if you're like, hey, I want to work on a few projects, you type up one, have a good prompt. Prompting is important though. I think if I haven't drilled this in enough, the better the prompt is, the better the outcome's going to be. So always take the time to make your prompt as good as you can, because then that's going to give you the better result, right? So the next one that Roland was actually playing with, which was a lot of fun, I'm going to have him take over on this one.
And so just to say real quick, with Manus, you can make things as simple or as complex as you want to. And like Taylor was saying, the prompt is really important. But the cool thing about Manus is it thinks on its own a lot as well. So you don't have to tell it exactly how to do something. If you clearly define the goal and what products you're looking for, it will figure out the best way that it knows how to deliver that. So it's pretty cool that way.
Very much. That last part of what do you want is the important part, even more than the instructions with Manus, or it's called reverse prompting.
Mhm.
right? It's, hey, this is what I'm wanting. How do you help me get there?
So with this, before I jump into this also, this is going to be like a market update that we do. But imagine, okay, so Manus, you can link it up to different websites, different Google Drives, your emails, different things that you log into every day. So imagine you're somewhere and you only have your phone and you need to send something to a client, but it's on your desk. You can send a message to Mantis and say, hey, access this file and email so and so this file, which is cool. So it can get into your desktop, find the file, go into your Gmail, find the client, write the message, attach the file, send it over to them. It could even get on and send them a text, you know what I mean? Which is cool. So, side note, what I did, since I've been talking to ChatGPT so long, I said, ChatGPT, write up a report about how I talk, my preferences, me in a report, and I fed that to Mantis, so all communication comes off the way I talk, which is cool. So anyway, so market update. One of those touches that we'd like to be able to send market updates, and it's cool if we're able to automate that. And it's an easy step to kind of dive into messing with Mantis. So if we have to stop every month and log in, spend the time to get the data, we might have errors of transposing data, whatever, AI will kind of eliminate, save us time and minimize the errors. So as your AI assistant, it will understand what data you're looking for. It'll log into your MLS for you, and it can file that information either in Google Drive for later, or it can send it out to people automatically. So step one, it's going to extract. So it's going to log in to Flex MLS. It's going to go to the most recent market stats. It's going to analyze all the stats. You can ask for something specific, like in Jen's example, if you want it to do something different. It's then going to generate the report and however you'd like that to be presented, and then it's going to send that off to where it needs to go automatically.
It will send it to your client.
It'll send it to your client automatically, which is crazy.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So you definitely can have that be one of the processes that you have done, or you have a powerful CRM at some point in time. It probably will, or will API and connect it and have it send through those kind of things.
So it's super easy. So you can say, hey, this is my website. Go ahead and access it. So you go Flex MLS. It goes to it and says, okay, I just need login credentials. And you go, okay, you take over, type in your credentials, and then you can say, remember this as a skill. And then it remembers it. You know what I mean? So it just remembers how to log in as you. And then if you set it as a reoccurring task, it knows like, oh, it's the third day of each month. I need to log into Flex, pull out the most recent stats, and do what I need to do. Yeah. Uh-huh. So on this one, I set it up to be a reoccurring task that on the third day of every month, it's going to send out that market report. So, and that's going to build some reliability and trust with the clients to know that it's always going to come out, and you can rely on that as well. It's going to be accurate, look professional, and you're going to be able to have a coffee or something else while it's doing it. So give you that freedom back. So this is kind of an example of what it generated. And the more instruction you give it, you can kind of change what it's going to look like or what data, how you want it to be presented. But that's just a quick snapshot of what it did. Here's a quick snapshot of how the email was sent. And I think it's going to scroll down. And since I'm still messing around with it, for time's sake, I tossed it into Gamma, which is another AI, to make it look prettier, so you can do all kinds of different things that way. But this is all automatic. And that's that one there. So
Right. So the reality is there's a lot of different things that you can do. The question is, what do you want it to do? What are those 80% activities that don't get you the high results, but I should have that be done, right? That you can now think and create it where it's a task that you can have it do. So I kind of wanted to actually think, what are some options? What are some things in the 80% that would be fun that maybe would make sense for us to do?
Send a video to a client, video update.
Video update? Cool.
80%. I'm sorry, that's wrong. That's my 20%. Never mind.
Well,
you
either
can
way.
have it do that too, though. Yeah, it can generate video. It can do all that.
It can do a video.
But sending it, you can make it, but sending it, that's the 20. That's 80%.
So I'm assuming you can take this report, upload it to wherever you do your AI videos, and have it create a video regurgitating this report.
And even in it, you can say it has different AI video generation models in it. So you can say, I want you to, so let's say social media, for example. You can say, create me a 7-day reoccurring task where you provide all my social media the captions, the hashtags, the thumbnails, the actual pictures. I want a carousel. I want 3 videos that are 10 to 15 seconds long. I want it based on first-time home buyers in St. George, Utah, with incentives that are out there or whatever programs. And it does it all. It does it
It
all
can
in
all work in
Manus.
a Manus.
Yep. It'll automatically post and everything for you, which is crazy.
With videos of you.
With videos of you, you could train it, I'm sure, to do that. I haven't messed with it yet.
Yeah.
But these AI models can use your likeness and be trained that way. So
So when and where and what, right? Kind of a thing.
What things too is obviously we don't necessarily always want it to have. There's an AI version of you is a lot more difficult to render and more expensive than if you were to do like an intro of you naturally and then just create a voiceover for where it's not you on it, but it's going through the data, but it's talking about the data, and that's a lot easier and cheaper to render.
totally.
And that there's a couple of voice match that are actually really excellent,
Mhm.
a lot cheaper to render than videos, because the video editing, you're gonna edit them in like 5 seconds at a time, so you're gonna have to do 5 seconds, and another 5 seconds, and another. So a video rendering is not quite there yet, but if you did like an intro of just you, and then you just do a voiceover where you give it the script, and then it does your voice, you're not recording it, and then just insert it into the video.
For
that
sure.
is really good.
What's a good voiceover app that you've recommend?
So Higgsfield AI, which
Mhm.
Taylor covered the other day, it has a bunch of different voice ones because it's not just one. There's a bunch of different ones. But that's where I would go right now. But I don't know if there's any one specific voice.
Yeah. There's a handful, but that
Yeah.
that has a lot of the models incorporated, so it's a good
I
spot.
think CapCut Pro does also, just on CapCut,
Okay.
we'll analyze it. It has you read a couple sentences, then it takes over and does it.
Yeah, have you used that? And it does do an okay job.
It does an okay job. I haven't posted it anywhere, but I've messed around with it. And it sounds like me, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is dangerous.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I didn't say that. I'm sorry, Joe.
I love it. Hey, what other ideas for the 80%? I want to get more ideas.
What about like for buyers, if you want to pull some homes, discuss them, or keep track of the ones that they like, give, kind of a better hot sheet that's personalized type situation, something along those lines?
Yeah, I bet it's pretty
So
cool.
on that, you
We've
can
done-
assign Manus its own email, right? So I'm sure, and I haven't tried this, I'm just kind of brainstorming, thinking aloud. I'm sure that when you set up like your Flex subscription, you can add that Manus one, so it'll receive the emails as well, and then you can have it generate a report weekly or something based on that content, and then feed that to the clients, contrasting the properties and stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm not the best buyer agent by any
Mhm.
means. I'm probably like bottom 5, to be honest with you. However, one of the challenges I have is that they'll tell you one thing, that this is what they want. You set the search up, and then they buy the exact opposite thing that they said that they wanted, right? And so the hard part with that is making an updated hot sheet is that they're going to be at 11 o'clock at night clicking on Zillow, whether you're sending them hot sheets or not, and they're looking at that stuff all over the board, right?
Mhm.
And they're doing their own search. What I would think might be a better option for the effort portion, and then like the results is based on where they want to be and what's important to them about the locations. Is can you set that into effect where it does research on those areas, gives them school information, utility information, like all the background stuff that
Almost
it's
do a
harder-
report.
Yeah,
Or-
harder for
yeah.
them to kind of research on their own.
Totally.
And that way you can hone in on locations, 'cause
Mhm.
that's typically a lot more clear where they want to be, and less about the exact house. That's where
Right.
the AI is going to have a hard time with like, this house has white cabinets. They're like, well, I might want white cabinets, but maybe
Totally.
I want, natural wood.
Right.
It's going to be tough.
Totally.
Yeah, I love it. That's fun though. Like, and that's where it's like, depending on what, these are unlimited options of what it could look like. What are 80% things? Yeah.
Well, I could tell you what I did after we did our first
Yeah.
result. I had people ask me about nightly rentals. So I had it look at all of the data, because we already gave it all the data. And maybe I downloaded new ones that were just nightly rental. I can't remember. Anyway, I made sure it had the data, and I was like, okay, what areas don't sell? What areas do sell? What areas have more price reductions than others? So where are the opportunities within nightly rentals? And it even drilled down like, okay, if you're a seller, you need to be aware of these certain things in your competition. If you're a buyer, here are 5 properties that are, I think this seller is desperate, and I think, it gave me a lot of information.
Yeah, I love it.
And
That's where this is fun to play with. Like, I just want to get more ideas. What else? What other 80% things?
it also looked at VRBO and Airbnb and tried to get an idea of how each neighborhood rented.
Really? Awesome. That's awesome.
Like for rental demand.
Right, yeah.
I feel myself becoming more and more obsolete every minute.
Yeah, so this is an interesting point. This is an interesting point. Yeah, no, I think so too. So what I've really, the way I've looked at this is that when you look at the potential for AI and what it can do right this second, and then what the potential is that it's the 80% that AI will be able to do all of. It's our 80, the AI will be able to do all of it. So if we know that to be true, it won't be able to do the 20%. And so it feels like you're obsolete, but all it's going to do is say, now I literally I only have to do the 20% because AI is doing all of the 80%.
Okay.
Yeah. The reason,
We're in this like transition period between the two. And so it feels like, oh, it's just going to be able to do everything. But it's like, well, we feel like we're doing the 80%, but we shouldn't be doing that anyway. We should just be doing
I feel like I've been teaching you guys not to do the 80% for a long time.
Yeah.
Recommended a particular unit in a very small little area, and it was like, this one is great. And I had shown one there before, and I was like, that entire area is crap. Never, like,
Yeah, there's things that it doesn't.
no,
Right.
100%.
Like, okay, good to know. I will never recommend this particular area
And
again.
you're teaching it.
Yeah.
Well,
You're
So
absolutely
it's only-
teaching
you know
it.
that because you've been there.
Correct.
It's falling off the top.
It's only looking at the number.
And that's the thing, right? And it's interesting to know the number, but you also get to know more of the background and other things that we can do. So, like, I appreciate that because it's true. And the thing is, this is where I've been saying, like, AI is not going to replace agents, but AI is going to replace agents who don't use AI. Right? Like, so if you're not using the AI to help you with the 80%, if you're not really actively pursuing this, then yes, how quickly is it going to get, right? Like I was looking at, they were just announcing a whole bunch of things in a prediction, and the prediction was very much within the next 1 to 5 years, the CEO of Anthropic was saying that 50% of jobs will be gone, right? But the reality is, it was something like that. Did you see that same report? It was really interesting.
They're just going to be different.
It's going to be different, and he's very much indifferent like that. But like a lot of the standard, and it wasn't 50% total of jobs, it was 50%, I think, of like, he was saying like AI is now the spot where you're at the spot where it's like now a college level kind of employee, right? So it's like now you're getting to a point where if that was all you're doing was doing research or doing certain things, all those jobs are going to be more and more going away. So fascinating. That's why it's like, okay, how do we focus more on the 20%? But how do we use this to do the 80% that well, right? So other 80%s. I would love to do one. So what? Yeah.
I don't know quite how to say it, but there's a lot of time in just like researching and learning and making sure that you're the expert in all the things. Is there a way to just make you an expert to do that?
Learn it. A chip.
Yeah, give me.
Yeah, I mean,
give me
at the
study
same
guide,
time-
the quizzes and stuff based
For
off
sure.
local market data.
And that could be helpful.
Weekly or whatever.
It's also at the same time, that's one thing that Gary Vee said was newer agents will not as much have a disadvantage because they can use the AI for all of the knowledge base. It's more going to be doing the right activities and being there for people. So like, it's gonna level that playing field in some ways. Yeah.
I would say the hard part, at least for me, is having done real estate for as long as we have, now trying to learn AI. But not the whole AI is, am I doing prompts in AI like, ChatGPT, whatever? Am I doing that where I'm doing more of the 80% prompts where I should be focusing on the 20%?
Correct. I think there is a big thing to be said about not playing with AI too much because it's an easy spot to get into a fun rabbit hole, but being focused on, are you doing the lead gen conversations, which is the most important for the business now. So I do agree with that completely.
Well,
I just think anytime that you have an 80% item, how instead of going and doing it, how can you now go, oh, I'm going to have Manus do this really quick
Right.
and just get the 50% done.
Well, it reminds me of that multiply your time, that Rory Vaden thing. You know,
Yeah.
if you know it's something you have to do, spending a little extra time and being intentional, so you're not wasting time, but being intentional to get that system set up so you can have that time back in the future is important.
Here's a project, maybe an 80% project. I don't watch the news, and I don't like to watch the news. But I also feel like I'm underinformed sometimes, and sometimes it's strategic.
So I actually do that. So I currently have my AI every morning.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So to see something like that.
Okay, so
How do you like keep
Along the
informed?
lines of what I'm.
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, this is something that I'm going to have my assistant Ava do, who's my AI assistant.
Yeah, she do one.
She's so cute. Dina's so upset about it.
Like, say no, nobody's gonna say no.
Yeah, she's super cute. She made her own image. It looks great.
We do.
Yeah. So, but I'm actually right now working on getting it so she has her own Twilio number so that anyone can opt into a text about certain updates. I'm going to probably set it up so you can have, because right now I get a message from her every single day on AI updates, but I'm probably going to have it be where if you want to opt in, then she'll just send you that daily's news update. Or that, like, I'm going to have it be, so I'm actually working on that right now. But the Manus would do it probably pretty easy if you wanted it in an email. What you'd probably do is have it be a morning brief. So you'd go through and you'd just,
So if you were to do it,
if I was going to do it, then I would say, hey, what are those things? Let's do that one. That's a fun one. So,
Dun, dun, dun. Let's go.
because the cool thing is you can have this be however you want. So I would go in and I would create a prompt, right? And I'm going to say something like, hey, I want to have a morning brief and I need a prompt that I can give to Manus so that it can, set up a task that every morning it gives me quick snippets of research of what happened that past day. I would love it to be a little brief on what's happening in the news and the big things that are going on there. And then also, what are the most recent AI updates so that I can stay on top of what's happening in that world. Period. Ask me a few questions to make sure you're understanding what I'm looking for, and then give me the prompt that I'm going to put into Manus.
Yes.
It put Manny also, so we gotta switch those up.
It's all good.
It's like the news is madness.
That you're giving permission.
Correct. So I'm now going through and saying, all right, so look, you're wanting a daily decision advantage tool, right? So here's a couple questions it gave me. Timing, what time? Let's do 9. Length, 3-min skim. Then filters, all of that. I'm just going to keep it simple. Look, this is where you get to refine it to what you want, right? I'm just doing an example. What? Oh, it will know. It will know. A lot of times I do 1 this, 2 that, but I just skipped it this time. National for news, but local for real estate.
Local or state, or maybe be more clear on what do you mean by local?
It knows where I live. Let's see how well it does. I mean, I get what you're saying, right? But let's see what it does. Output, I like bullet points, right? And then action, what this means, no action bias. Actually, I'm just gonna. Okay. right? Well, you can, if you want that, you can do it. Church news. Okay, so then I'm going to take this prompt. I'm going to take this prompt and I would put it into Manus. So, and then I would do a new task and I would put it right in here and then it would go through it. We're not going to have time because that's going to take probably about 5 or 10 minutes for that. But that is the process. And it's that simple. After it's done, then you go in and you click, and it will help you turn it into a task. Right, Roland?
Say that again.
Like after it's done, it will just have created the task and do it for you.
Yeah, it creates the task. Then it'll ask, what email do I send it to? You hook it to your Gmail, and then you say, great, I love it. Make this a recurring task every day or whatever. Then it'll do it.
So, and that's like an email is going to be easy because it'll just email you, right? Getting it where it texts you is a little more complicated. That's where.
Can it talk to me instead?
Can it talk to you? I don't think Manus can yet.
He's crazy cyborg lady.
It is getting there though. Like, yeah, it like calls you up every morning and it's like, hey, I know you're driving to work. Like here in podcast form is the 3 people giving you the news.
You could probably have Manus. Sorry.
I think you can do that.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you can do and it's evolving fast. I have no doubt that you could do that with already what's out there. Because I think I could probably do it, but the problem is the one I'm using is way more complicated than Manus. So like, I think Manus is built really well for a user-friendly go out and do things.
There's still some limits on the amount of tokens it takes, right? So for it to generate its own voice and then have it call you,
it's gonna eat up more tokens.
It's just gonna eat up more of that processing power, right? And so it's just expensive quick.
Yeah.
It's expensive quick.
Yeah.
And so like thinking of like effort and results versus, the time and cost, right?
Playing with that.
And then it's also messing with how can Manus send this to another platform that can help do some of these other things without using the Manus token.
Right.
So
Yeah, so I have the one that I have set up. I have it so that Manus is one of its helpers. So it will do stuff and say, oh, this is a perfect role for Manus. And it will send the job to Manus and then Manus will report back to my AI. So like, there's a lot of things that you can do and it's just getting more and more where, how and what you build. But I think Manus is a fantastic spot to start, to get it going, to see what 80% items, what research items, what simple task reminders, what things do you want it to do to help you help your life. And it is really pretty limitless.
yeah.
Like some of the stuff Roland's been doing, he's already eaten through all of his credits in like 3 days.
I've been geeking out so hard. Yeah, but I'm learning. Yeah.
So like, but just thinking of what things can you do. And I am a very strong person of saying you should do everything of a monthly subscription because who knows what things will be like in 4 months. Like I might be up here in front of you telling, oh, go use this one now because this, and this are 17 times better, right? So do like whenever you're signing up for something with tech right now, do the monthly because then you can turn it off or on based on how much you're actually using it at the time, right? So the challenge is think of what some of those 80% or when something comes up that is repetitive. Like if it's something that you could hire a human for or you could have an AI do, you could build an SOP around, go play with it. Like if you're like, hey, if I do this every single week, then the question is why? Because you can now have it where that part, if you have it specific enough, can do it for you.
Yeah, and Manus has a lot of different tiers, and there is a free one too, so you can hop on, play around with it for free, and kind of.
Yeah, and then if you click that, then
Get paid for it when you're done.
of course.
It takes you, if you're trying to share, because if I'm trying to share.
Yeah, it doesn't take me to an actual.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Invite to get credits. Oh, I see. Yeah.
All right, well, I can send it.
Send us a new one, so you.
I can send out a new one. I'll send out a new one. We'll send out a link. It's just one of those ones where it gives the credits and goes from there. But that's silly that's not the one that worked. So, okay, well, awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Bye, man.